Nearly 3,000 people have digitally signed a petition against oil and gas exploration off the West Coast. As from Wednesday, a ship will drag 48 air guns that will fire every 10 seconds underwater for 5 months. Well, how the sound waves react gives scientists an indication as to whether there are fossil fuels beneath the ocean floor. Environmentalists say it will permanently change the fate of ocean life in an ecologically diverse and sensitive area. Janet Solomon is with the Oceans Not Oil Group. Janet, thank you so much for joining us. The sound wave work is due to take place between Morgan Bay and Port St. John's. It was approved in 2014. One has to ask why, when it's such an ecologically sensitive area and it's such a special part of our country.
Of course, and of course, at this point in time in climate change, it doesn't make much sense that we should be exploring for gas now when it's only going to come out the seabed in probably 5 to 7 years' time. What's the world going to look like then?
Janet, if it was approved in 2014, why has it taken so long for activists to react to this? Or has there been work behind the scenes to try and get the permission overturned?
Well, so many of us didn't know about it. You know, the first that we heard about it was through the Daily Dispatch, the notice in the Daily Dispatch, which was aimed at shipping vessels as a warning that they would be out there, So interested and affected parties were given very little communication about this.
I've read some quite, animals are an emotive issue, and I've read some quite emotive and emotional writing about it. These blasting sound waves into the sea with air guns every 10 seconds, it says it's very painful for mammals and sea life. Is this a correct reflection? Is it actually painful to sentient beings?
Oh, yes. It's painful across the board. So you'll have planktonic life, which one must remember is the next generation of corals, of fish, and crustaceans. That planktonic life gets wiped out, and then it goes all the way through to lethal and sublethal injury. So you can have the bends in mammals. You can have, there's the physical trauma, the acoustic trauma that they have to experience. So it's 8,460 of these blasts. The sound and pressure wave that's experienced, remember, is forceful enough to penetrate kilometers of seabed, 40 kilometers of seabed, and the sea depth itself. So it's a very forceful wave that is produced. It can create organ rupture. It can create temporary and permanent hearing loss. Now, you must remember that all animal life in the sea relies on sound in the way that we rely on visuals on Earth. The visibility in the sea is not always good. And obviously at depth, you're losing light. So to find your mates, to find your predators, to find your prey, all comms rely on sound.
Why, in your opinion, do you think permission was granted to Shell by government, taking into account that there must have been some environmental assessment and impact done? These issues must have been flagged. Do you suspect any foul play?
I don't think it's a case of foul play. I think it's a case of intention. We have a mineral department that's hell-bent on a gas to power economy, and the science is emerging that is now contentious and it's questionable. Also, you have gas and oil prices are looking good for the sector, and I don't think it was coincidental that this application announcement was made straight after COP26.
Well, that was Janet Solomon of the Oceans Not Oil Environmental Group. We'll carry on with the story a little bit later on. Thank you so much for joining us, Janet, because it's turning into a big issue. I don't know if you've seen it on Facebook. You know, a lot of people asking for Shell to be boycotted this festive season. I think there's a gas station on that route to the wilderness right near where the blasting is due to take place.